So, I gotta be quiet. I don't want to wake up the person that people would know as Goliath. I know as Ed. My name is Phil. That's all that I would know. Except that my Freemason Nazi overlord, God people, who can see through your mind and know all things, have informed me, have shown me that I was King David 3,000 years ago. So I don't know what to do with that. I know that my government's Nazis. They've been torturing me for the last 14 years, but it went further than that, right? It was childhood torture. It was a strategic child molestation. I don't know what to do with any of this. Like, I'm watching. Like, I'm super demon possessed. That all happened in like 2009, but I was watching. My thoughts are too flighty. Anyway, they've been torturing me for 14 years. I have learned, like when this all started, there were these songs. From the line of King David. I remember like it was like my spine was like sparkling. So I assume, usually biblically, I assume that I'm the beast. And they've tortured me to get me enraged, but it didn't work because they overly tortured me. Now I'm just like drooling with the demons inside of me. I have zero faith in anything. There's also, in my misadventures here, came to find out that I was St. Francis in a past life. So yeah, no faith in Jesus either. Like, if you're gonna be St. Francis, like, you would at least think that people wouldn't get to condition you to bondage porn when you're 4 years old. It's a very clever attack too, right? Like, to my credit, whatever a soul is, when I was in kindergarten, there was a bully, and the girls would scream, and I would come running. And then, true to form, I guess I would go to the kindergarten teacher and be like, he started it, it's his fault. It's a very, very King David behavior there too, eh? Alright, I'm not supposed to fight, but they were fighting. Anyway, I'm doing this, you gotta excuse me for a minute. So whatever orchestrates Jesus culture, whatever spirit that is, they're the ones that showed me. Like, these guys came and destroyed my life in such a way that it was like only the victim would know, right? But it was I was like, well then, like God's real, since these demon torture, because I was an atheist for 30 years. I was like, God's real, so I mean, demons are real, so there must be a God. I was actually kind of excited for a while. Thought I was going to find God and it would be perfect. But turns out that doesn't work out either. So, by way of, there is no God that I will sing to today. Like, Israel right now is involved in genocide that was engineered by the same people who engineered the Iraq War, right? 9/11. It's a simple thing, like, it's what they do in my life, right? They wanted an asshole who, like, screams and shit, and they got it. Where I used to be like a normal calm person. But anyway, don't know what to do with any of these things. Like, I don't have any proof of what I'm saying, other than like while they were torturing me. Honestly, it's never been enough, right? It's never been like, okay, you've got NATO, you've got the torture weapons, you're slaughtering me. Like, okay, well then when are we fighting? Like, not that I would win a fight, right? Right? These guys are special forces and black ops and military trained. For my part, like I never worked out. Used to play high school football, never worked out a day. I was like the slowest kid on the field. But we were pressing our flour. That David and Goliath grew some weed this summer. Again, I hate saying Goliath. It's like a moniker that has no nuance to it, right? It's disgusting to say, but I did ask him his permission. Not that he believes any of this shit that I tell him all the time. I don't tell him this part of it all the time because it's disgusting to me. But like introduction to reincarnation 101 is, hey, you're fucked. You've been fucked before and you'll be fucked again. I don't know. But I don't know, it's like I can't keep my hands off it either. I'd rather not speak about these things, but at the same time, in the off chance that this will help somebody somehow, some way. And they're like I've felt guilty enough over these things that like I should be at every Franciscan monastery that I can find. Be like, yeah, no, dude, that's not. Like, no, I don't believe any of that stuff anymore. Aside from like hanging out with my cat, I guess. But even then, I'm a very flighty person. Like whatever's there to distract me at the time. But they cooked my brain out. So it fits the whole beast head wound thing, but that's not happening either. It's always with these things, it's the same thing, and that's what I worry about religiously. It's always tomorrow, next year, don't worry, soon, just wait. And it follows the formula of like Obama when he knew that he was lying because Obama's a psychotic insider, Luciferian. I mean, if you're doing that innocently, it doesn't mean anything, but to them, it's like, oh, Satan poses us. I don't know, Lucifer poses us, Yahweh poses. I have no idea which God is evil. My summation is something good reincarnates us, and then we're stuck here with all the evil forces, and I don't know. We're at the, like, these are the few hopeful thoughts that I allow into my life. We're at the level of light that the light of all men will allow, and the light of God, like combined, like God can only have all of us at as high a level as we would be. So there's people who would take this stuff in stride, and there's me who would start whining to God. But I've been whining to God for 15 years. Let's see how long this has been pressing. I've been whining to God for 15 years with no help. But I feel duplicitous. Like this is where it's upsetting to me that it's only Nazis that know what's going on here, right? Because if you're a Nazi, you're a distrusting person because you know evil, you do evil, and so you're stuck in that world of paranoia. But like I it's like this is no fair. Like at least if I was in a Midwest church and I was like blaspheming the highest blasphemy ever, but people were like, "But we have this knowledge, you are king." Like they would at least be cool to me, right? They wouldn't be like, I don't know. Anyway, insanity. But so yeah, COVID is a bioweapon that your government did. It's designed to mask the side effects of 5G AI mind poisoning. Or like the radiation poisoning, the EMF poisoning that comes from 5G. I gotta put this in the freezer again. Sorry. Look at that. But I full well expect my life to continue on the path of screaming, total despair. How can any of this be? How can there be a good God? And this is my existence. Like I'm not unaware of what I am, right? I'm not thinking that I'm some devout person. I'm just thinking that like God's supposed to be super cop of the universe. Oh, look at all that weed that I wasted. God's supposed to. God shouldn't care if you're stuck on a ledge, what kind of psychopath you are. He's just supposed to be the one that helps, right? And it leaked out the sides. So I keep trying to make sense of this and like, oh well, this is here. This is here. Here in Valley Stream. Something has reincarnated me. And the only message that I can decipher for sure is, yep, David, that's your brother Goliath. That didn't take me a second to deal with, at least for my character. At least there's a lot of condemnations, but not. Oh well, that's I wasn't happy to be introduced to the idea by way of demon torture, but that's how I got introduced to the idea. Like I don't think God has sent a single message here. I think it's whatever floats around that opposes good thought that I was like laying in wait, kind of, is what their guys are saying, right? Sly Stallone, the stone, the rock, ha ha ha. That's the other one that they were putting on me. The ones that they put on me that like through psycho-spiritual torture through, yeah, that's you too, this is why you're condemned, was Saint Peter, Saint Francis, King David, and then the wonky possibility of Daniel LaRusso is gonna fight. Like, what does LaRusso mean? Means the red. What is my consistent behavior when I have something? Oh, we have something. Oh yeah, I don't like those communist ideas. It's not a communist idea at all. It's a communalist idea, right? What do we have? Okay, we have this. But I gotta admit, you get much shinier things by this whole forced. You gotta be an automaton for the elite. We do get much shinier things than you would have if people were just kind of. But I don't know. Among the things that I've discovered is this thing controlling me. Like you see it in Nikola Tesla's face with like the man. I think I won't discount his genius. Just saying that what was informing him could only inform someone who would understand it. To put it out there, what spiritual forces were informing him. That's where it gets into voodoo. Me trying to figure out 14 years of attack, the grand architect of the universe would be Lucifer, would be Jesus, would be. I mean, that's who Jesus identifies himself as, right? In the book of Revelation. He never does it on earth, so maybe that's some bullshit too, but once he comes around in the book of Revelation, it's a whole different story. It's not my Jesus. It's not St. Francis's Jesus. It's not the Lord who saves men from fire. It's the Lord who puts men into fire. Like, I mean, he saves some and then he puts some into fire. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it could be. Like, you would think, like, like, why would you even give a fuck then? And that's, like, to me, the thing that I give a fuck is myself, right? Very selfish person. I don't want to be converted into evil. I like feeling good about myself, and these demons that are taking over my brain very much convert you to evil. But, like, what kind of evil? Right? Maybe it's the Book of Daniel stuff, and it's the stuff mixing with the miry clay that's us, and This is just for my own honesty, for my own trying to say fuck you as loud as I can to these people. So who knows? Again, my thoughts on like Leviticus, Deuteronomy, all those older books of the Bible. I hope they can't sit with it, so I hope that it just wasn't there in David's time, and that I wasn't fully sycophantic. You can tell what really irks people by the words they use, right? I remember when I was a kid, it's like the thing that I hated most was the whole concept of someone being sycophantic. So maybe that's some kind of weird karmic. You are the ultimate sycophant in the. It's like in the face of evil, but it's like in the face of the good that you think is winning. So like if you live in California right now, if you live in New Jersey or Wisconsin, you could be like, I think good might be winning. If you live in Palestine, you can't think good is winning. Israel has done, they say that the Southern flip never happened, the Democrat and Republican parties never swapped sides. Well, Freemasonry has the country labeled as Israel doing the Southern flip into Nazism, and it's not the people themselves. They're the same as Americans were for the Iraq War. They don't know that Bush did 9/11, so to them it's like, never forget. That was the Christian ideals I had. That always irked me too. I'm like, this is the opposite. Before I knew anything spiritual, when it was just the vibes I had. Never forget is the opposite of what we're taught. Yeah, Bush definitely did 9/11. And when I say Bush, I guess I got to give Bush the same like benefit of the doubt. I'm trying. Oh, I'm demon possessed. God, I'm not supposed to be demon possessed. Like that's when you see like you can't. If you're looking at people naturally, like it takes 14 years of brain hollowed out torture where you see something disgusting on TV, and then it tries to smile through you. Do you like that? So anyway, I don't know. What do you do with any of this? Like it actually feels like evil has to have won to me. Cannot put this together any other way. My dab press not working right is proof enough alone that evil's won. No, I don't know. But yeah. And I had to stop smoking weed really. With this paranoia, with this. I feel like I would do better here without the mercury poisoning from the fillings and all things considered stuff. I would be doing better without the psycho torture. But it feels like evil in its whatever evil is, and its worry about what God is doing. Maybe needed to pounce when it thought it had me. And it was like I say, the whole bondage porn thing, like the level of haunting after. Like, I could have stopped them all if I didn't feel so guilty about. BRB. I'll be right back. Look at that production. I'm a farmer from my youth. Oh, I forgot about that one. No, it's not gonna leak out, right? Uh, but yeah, like all things considered, if there were justice, sure, I shouldn't really get to live this life of pseudo luxury while being tortured, or like material luxury, for the amount of work that I put into the world. But it was always like, well, I'm not going to work for any of that, I'm not going to work for that, I'm not going to work for that. To my credit, with the demon haunting, when Katrina happened, I wanted to be there. It's just the demons had me good enough. You have herpes, you'll spread it to somebody. Through contact, through like handshaking was what they were putting on me. You can't help anyone ever. I don't know. Some dark times. I feel like I get extra dark times again. I have my tattoo from the Marshall's farm on my hand. Not from the Marshall's farm. When this is where I know that my life has been like they pretended to start to ruin it. 14 years ago, 13 years ago, I forget. I think it's more accurately 13. I just want it to be longer to justify my assholery. But they have been torturing me acutely for 13 years. But 20 years ago, 25 years ago, got into a fight with my dad who, like, it went the other, not, my dad never laid a hand on me, but do you? So, like, one day, I was like, no. I gave it back. I wound up in a psych ward right away, right? Nothing's fair. And I came out with this green tattoo on my hand. And it was annoying me at the time. We had ferrets, and it annoyed me because my ferret had this green tattoo on his ear, and it annoyed me that was from Marshall Farm. So that was like what annoys you, what like gets through you and just ruins you, and like, here's a permanent reminder someone is treating you like a experiment like that. That's why I didn't like Marshall's Farm as they experiment. They sold ferrets for experimentation, and I didn't like knowing about that, or that my ferret came from the same place, and like, oh, it's not fair that my ferret got out and the other ferrets don't get out. Weird stuff I think about is the crippling stuff that, like, I never managed to do anything because everything's so fucked up. But I don't know where I'm going with this. As always, as all my started and then deleted videos, I had quit smoking for 2 weeks. Yay. But I was doing this yesterday with the new THCV strain that I super loved. It hit like some Hawaiian weed that I had when I was a kid. Dubsvaren is the strain. But I don't know. I do have a very Solomon-like understanding of that. Let the laborer get drunk. Let him have some joy in his life. So who knows? Maybe these are Jesus farthings that I'm paying for being King David, for extolling Yahweh's virtue. Yahweh, if you're actually God, I'm sorry. Big apology. I can't put together anything. So I know how these people work, and that's one of my biggest worries. Like the Iraq War and all the stories they'll put on that. We sing for your glory. Like, no, you don't give a fuck about them. So maybe 3,000 years ago, I was just a farm boy who was good at combat. And then they co-opted me and said, ha ha ha. God has anointed you. Oh, it's by God that I win my victories. How awesome. And really, something else was God. Maybe we're just caught on the wrong side of the universe. And the whole other side of the universe is like, no, we're drifting away from them at light speed. We should help them. Look how confused they are. We're drifting away at light speed. We can't. Maybe that's where all evil begins with. That's my trouble with religion, right? You cannot come to like, of all the fucked up thoughts that I've thought, was like, you know, when Adam wakes up, like, it could have all been Yahweh's fault. And like, yeah, wake up, look at what you fucked up. I just did this. Yeah, it was your fault. Go fix it. Like, it could be that. Could be anything. So, I don't know why I'm making this video. Just driven mad out of my mind. It's one of their satanic ritual abuse things is they make children, like the stories that they had of like making a child watch their brother die and choose between like if their brother dies or an animal dies. Like, that's very much like how this feels watching this stuff. Like, you can't do anything, it's just learned helplessness. Ha ha ha, you should see the nods I get out of news stories. Like, it's like when I decided to burn some weed in my backyard, some nappy, like it had so I put it in the fire pit, it had bud rot. And I was like, oh, well, people will get high by it. And then it was like the next day, the article was, US Open stinks of cannabis smell. Like, it's just like they do news to flex on their power over me, and I don't know what they are. Maybe Jesus bailed me out and they are the great deceivers. Maybe Lucifer, like they claim, has taken over and they rule and reign with Lucifer and evil's one, and I'm just stuck in an endless loop of reincarnation where evil's just like, raise him up again. Okay, is he hopeful? Dash it. Like, that's actually what it seems like to me. But yeah, so I don't believe in any of those psalms or anything that I supposedly wrote. I don't believe in anything anymore. I believe in pain and suffering. When I pray, there's a bird singing though. There's my problems with Bible stuff, right? It's supposed to be dirty birds coming before desolation. Who knows what these men are planning? But the only weapon I have is a name that's worthless, especially if your name is Uriah, and my name is Complete Mud. But who knows? It doesn't seem fair. That's where I'm like, oh, Jesus is right, the whole world lies in the evil one. Like, there's only been one king that I recall that had a prophet walk up to him and be like, here's your crimes, now stop. All the other kings are like, yeah, here's your crime, and go get more. You did Iraq, now bioweapon attack for us. Now you can. Again, did I say it? I think that's the most important point I can make in my life right now, is that COVID was a bioweapon designed to mask the side effects of 5G AI, mind control, EMF poisoning. EMF poisoning can cause brain fog, it can cause low-grade fever, it can cause taste and smell loss, it can cause trouble breathing. So like, COVID was a perfect, I've got the long COVID again. I'm still downloading movies just as fast, but they spent 1,000 times more on infrastructure for some reason to put in towers at every corner. Like, they're, again, that Wired article from 2008, what was it? 2 AI pioneers, 2 bizarre suicides. Like, the thing that would destroy an AI would be an AI. Like, easily take down even like a super robust, like, world destroying AI would just take one hacker with a good AI. So the CIA, FBI, NSA, they assassinated these 2 kids that were AI pioneers, and that's how they consistently work in Freemasonry. They tell their insiders, like, look at what we provide. But meanwhile, an AI could be a tool for good, right? It's just a tool. I learned that from Miss Rivka Maka when I was watching her YouTube videos. It was like, it's just a tool. It's not good or evil. It's how it's used, so. So I have no reason to hope. I've thought of every blasphemy I can. I've begged God for help every single night for 14 years while I try to sleep. It feels like my nerves in my brain are just like shredded. It's almost like how your hand would feel, how my hands felt after I had like minor frostbite, and my hands were just always got cold for They still do a little bit, but it was like, it took like a good like 10 years, 12, I don't know, 14 years to recover from that. This stuff here is, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with any of this blabbering. Just the giant fuck you. Just the, like, they want a war from me. It seems like I have no war. I learned better 4 lifetimes ago, supposedly. But then at the same time, well, then these things are supposed to be in courts, but they can't be in courts because they own all the courts. They can't be, like, there's no jury that'll be like, oh yeah, well, where's the evidence that they were 5G AI and mind controlling you and torturing you? Oh, well, there's no evidence. Well, then. So I don't know. I can't with any of this. It's too insane. Oh yeah, so for my part, like, people will wait for psychotic. All the Psalms are psychotic. Again, in my defense, when Christopher, knowing what I know now, right? When Christopher Hitchens goes, where are the Amalekites now if God is so good? And I'm like, they're probably living in New Jersey. They're probably in Sheboygan. Who knows? But it's probably that Jesus is right and he's got me paying farthings, right? It's probably it. Endless farthings. But there's a complaint that I have though. Like, you can only separate someone from God to the level that they're separated from, right? You couldn't be number 8,970,000 in God's like chain of command and fool number 869 in God's chain of command. Like, you could only be so like if that's all my fault, well, shouldn't there be a whole bunch of people who just like God is like, no, none of this is true. Don't believe any of that. But anyway, so that's where I'm stuck. But I have met way too many of these weird culty kids, culty people. To not know that they haven't semi-taken over the world. They're insiders, like, that's the flex that they were running with this whole Taylor Swift bullshit, right? While they're burning the world, they're like laughing like, ha ha ha, we'll make everyone talk about Taylor Swift. Like, the media is supposed to be the watchguard, and to be fair to them, I know, like that one article that I'm fond of sharing, how the anthrax targets tell us who did the anthrax attacks, right? Like, they went after 2 journalists who were publishing articles about Bush's ISIS after 9/11, decided to send anthrax to the 2. I'm saying this sarcastically, like, obviously it wasn't ISIS, obviously it was our government, obviously it was this cabal. They sent anthrax to 2 journalists who were publishing articles about Bush's daughters and killed them, or killed one of them. And then, so like, that's like, if you're a journalist, you shouldn't have to be a journalist in fear of your life, right? That's not, you should get to print the most heinous crime that your leaders are committing and not fear for your life. But me, I've begun to, it's a solid taunt that I have against them. I've given up on life, so like when they're torturing me, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going for a walk at 3 a.m. Like, I do it as like a vulgar display of power. It's not right. It's just where I am. If you want me to shut up so bad, then come and end it because you've assassinated so many people. That was I had a good laugh when I was listening to the guy talk about St. Francis, and it was like, the guy's like, he seemed more like the saint who wanted to die and couldn't die, or the saint who could not die. So yeah, maybe I've got giant curses and I just wander around the planet. Maybe I actually was Judas. Maybe that's what it was, because that was like the Lady Gaga hit when this first started. Judas is the whatever I cling to. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe I was never Peter. I was just Judas, but I'm sure I was St. Francis. Like that fits me. That's how I am. Yo, what do you need, God? Okay, I'll go do it. Okay, how come it didn't work? Oh, because you need me to do so. Oh, okay. These rivet screws are not great. Man, this is. I'm gonna show off my pappy. My dad died like a year ago from cancer, but this is 60 years an aircraft mechanic. This was only like a third of his tools. Oh. Oh. But I've actually been like a little weird with that, where it's like, okay, well, if reincarnation's real, I should keep his stuff as good condition as I can, just in case he wanders a little. That's actually upset me a lot about this whole apocalyptic. Like, I was always a very zombie apocalypse type of fan. Like, good fantasy. It's good. It's like the movie Aliens, right? Good fantasy for how you feel in life. Like, I just wish my enemies were just slithering. I just wish that people. What annoys me was just this slithering monster that I could just kill. That would make life easier. But it irks me that they're doing apocalypse stuff, and my dad would not be around for it because he would have killed it. Like Walking Dead times. Like, this man. There's the bullet press and stuff. Here's his lathe. Like, he would have absolutely kicked ass in a zombie apocalypse. People would have been like, yo, we gotta go to Burgetown, man. He's gonna have an airplane working next week. But yeah. I have no knowledge of a way out of this. I have these Indian songs that are like in English, like they want the key, blah blah blah, and that's some biblical stuff, right? Whoever has written the Book of Revelation has the key of David. You bastard! Where's my key? But all I've done with my life is sit around and play World of Warcraft, which would be like, things are as hoodoo organized as I think they are. There would be a perfect trap. What I would like plus what I'd like, right? Because I grew up loving Dungeons and Dragons. My brother came home from camp one day when I was like 9 years old and he was 11, and he had learned about Dungeons and Dragons, and he had like, I think it's probably worth some money now, the ancient player's handbook from the 70s. So we sat around and played Dungeons and Dragons one night. David and Goliath did. It irks me to say it. Like, I don't. People like a freak show, right? I've never, for my part, I used to have some virtue in me. used to hate things like that, like the idea of a freak show. I don't want to make my life a freak show, but at the same time, I don't want to sit here and hate myself more every day for just being helpless while they destroy the world. But, I mean, maybe I'm just biblically a despicable man who think to change the times, blah blah blah. Maybe that's all it is. What's the trouble with biblical speculation? Is it just speculation? But it is weird to me that all the men who hate God, and don't get it twisted, they hate God, unless it's all lies and they love God because it's just a great deception and it's how they control the world. The people who hate God, where was I going with this? Oh, are the ones that started the war to create the end time scenario. So that's really weird to me. I don't know. I was watching a rabbi the other day talk about they're under an injunction by God to not ever return to the homeland until God shows up or whatever. But I've been bugging God about that for a long minute. God, would you show up? Yeah, maybe it's a growth thing, right? You can't grow if you got someone who's gonna do everything for you. Real God likes someone else in the room besides himself. False God wants himself to be the everything. I don't know. But that's me blaspheming Jesus. I'm very good at blasphemy. I'm an expert at that. I'm a master complainer. But I was kind of flexing on my gang stalkers the other day. Yesterday, I had like a good thought. I've been trying to think of something that would be freeing after all this Nazi Satanism. My thought was whoever God is, for my part, for the way I have comported my life, the way I have lived my life. There have been so many schemes on me that it just feels unfair. So my thinking was like, well, if you put every single person in the universe and God and Satan and Yahweh and Lucifer and whoever's evil and whoever's good, everybody in a room, and you said, okay, well, is this fair? What's happening to him? Like, so without being able to figure out who God is, and like Jewish speaking, that's God hides himself, right? It's not that you're supposed to figure out who God is. But is what it says. I don't know, maybe that's just more excuse making. But like that's been like I can't faithfully pray one way or another, but I'm very sure like I think you should get a pass for strategic child molestation to get you to golden rule appreciate the most orgasmic, not safe for children, the most orgasmic, like when demons work you up into watching porn and you're like, yeah, but get me hooked on the ones that, the women that weren't faking it, and then they put something extra on it, but again, and then they have their tool of like, ha ha ha, torture him, look at how he is, but again, when I was in kindergarten, that's where I think they won't put a fight in front of me, because they don't want their insiders to see an actual fight in front of me. I do have a virtue, it's just coordinated around me that I never get to be there for a fight. If that's a virtue. Maybe that's the Jesus stuff. Violent men have taken the kingdom. There's some early Christian thoughts when I was trying to be a Christian that I've forgotten about. That doesn't seem fair that the violent just got in beforehand and now everybody else has to do the whole perfect thing. But these men seem to think that they have the kingdom of God or whatever, that they have that it's theirs, and that's why they like to get someone to do that kind of evil and not worry about it. You would have to have them in a faith where they're like, yeah, no, this is the way. This is what you do. God reveals how elite you are, and that's where I'm like, oh, ha ha ha, I do have that over you. Ha ha ha. For my part, my sin with Uriah was looking forward to a redemption of people, and probably just someone that I disliked, and at the same time someone that I liked. That was how they got me on the hook originally here, mentally. Like, it was a momentary thought, and I was like, oh no, did I just sin? Wait, if you are the secret good guys, then how come all this stuff is happening? That was when they snuck into my life and everything went upside down, and the spiritual attack plus the people attack plus all that stuff. I can't judge these things the way I would judge them. Unfortunately, I don't, but maybe that's it. Maybe I just err on the side of mercy for convenience and think, oh, God should be merciful for everything. Always try to knock down my own thoughts. But, yeah, since they weaponized people that I really loved against me, like in media, it's just like such an ill-coordinated. Like your M&Ms. Like, I would sit around and like my friends like, he's a punk. And I'm like, he's not a punk. Like, if you grew up how he grew up. To be fair to my friend who was saying that, like, he did semi have that experience. Like, he grew up on the wrong side of town. He got jumped when he was remember he got jumped when he was coming over my house one day? Or was he coming over my house? I forget. Maybe not. It's just, he got jumped when he was crossing underneath the railroad track by some kids. But yeah, this is where it's unfair to me. This is where the speed of combat, like, they've got me as this violent warlord type personality is what they're trying to expose me as or something. But like, I don't look at fighting as a hobby or as a flex. I look at it as, well, I can't fight here because I know I'm weaker than you, and I've just thought of the 10 ways that I can win this fight, and all of them are repugnant to me. But yeah, that's the difference between. Here's the difference between Christianity and Judaism, right? What did you think versus what you're doing versus, like, if I grew up with a truly Jewish religion, my sins are virtually zero. I don't know how strategic child molestation to get you addicted to pornography, to get you, I don't know how that's judged, but like, did I kill anyone today? No. Did I steal anything? No. Did I? No. But Christianity is like, you haven't repented yet. Like, no, I've been to church. I'm like, God, please help. You just need to let Jesus. I'm trying to. I don't know. Just trying to make sense of all this when I can't because they cook my brain out. And maybe I'd be a much healthier person again without all these mercury fillings. Who knows? Well past that. Maybe it is the Jesus stuff, and like the best that he could do for me is like I can live comfortably with my brother because my brother's not trying to kill me. that I can't live comfortably with my enemies because, like, I'm not capable of loving them. I tried, but like that was the rip from brain stuff that I didn't understand. I thought it was all spiritual. It might just be electronic. When I was trying to pray for my enemies, and then the news would come up mocking, like, and then he was praying for his enemies, and you know, it doesn't sound like mockery if you don't realize that all news is faked. And I was like, fuck all this stuff. I can't with any of it. I cannot with any of it. What, meow? Meow. Come hang out. Meow. Meow. But who knows? Maybe they blow up the world and then God will fix things, and I'll really appreciate God. Again, my problem. My cat thinks go out means food, so when he goes go out, he means food, which is super annoying. But oh yeah, the Book of Job comment, like, I do not have that level of piety. Shall I not accept? I accept good at the hands of the Almighty, but not evil. Like, no, I can't. I can't praise you in the storm, God. Sorry. I only go evidence-based. Meow. Meow. Ooh. But anyway, these are my thoughts that aren't good thoughts. I really would like to not talk about any of this stuff and go play World of Warcraft, but they do gang stalk me there, so that, like, they force me to lose this learned helplessness thing. I should complain, right? Could be worse. I could have a factory job in China. Could be worse. I could be the people who make lettuce for Americans that Donald Trump has weaponized into, they are your enemy. Not that Donald Trump alone did it, right? That's their agenda, their divide and conquer schemes. But, like, if that was true Judaism, I hate to, but, like, if that's, to me it seems like it's true Luciferianism, because that's these people happily flex Christianity and be like, well, and then a Bible was the only thing that survived the fire in a car. Like, to them, it's George Washington's point of view. It would be impossible to rule over a people without the fear of God or whatever, right? Without the Bible. Like, they look at it like a tool. I just can't. Like, then that means to me that evil's won. That's what that looks like to me. Like, oh, this is just manipulative, and you people think you're the good people. Like, then like the Jesus measures just jump right out, right? Like, this widow has given more because she had nothing. You could say, oh, she has nothing because she didn't work hard, but like, Donald Trump is not working, whatever the math is, like 1.5 million times harder than a McDonald's employee to earn his billions, where they have, like, debt. It's just, to me, it's injustice. To me, it's, hey, you want to start a plumbing company? I'll do the management, you do the plumbing. Like, then those people should be getting paid, like, plumbing, something like plumbing. The plumber should be getting paid a good, like, 90%. But you know what I mean? Like, it's an unequal division. Like, what job would you rather have? This is where they flex, like, I'm a millionaire because I have the balls to be an Obama warlord, and that's why I deserve millions. Like, no, go over there and kill those people. I'm actually just as qualified. I can do that job. That's not hard. So it's like evil co-ops people into their weird ethos, whatever that is. If that's Luciferianism, if that's just Daniel's fourth kingdom ethos, if that's the true Judaism that Jesus railed against. These are words that I choke on because it is, like, absolute no hope. I'm stuck sitting there in like a Hindu mindset of like, all right, so I'm just stuck in the middle of a 3,000 year war, Vedic cycle or whatever they call it. I'm sorry, I'm not up on that religion, but I virtually memorized the Bible. Not really, but I became really good at, especially picking up on the verses I didn't like once this whole false messiah thing started. But yeah. No, I'm doing this. But I made a video the other day that I deleted that I was talking about this with the St. Francis stuff, like things that people would have applied to mythical. And maybe I would have bought into it myself at the time, I don't know, but like when you're homeless and begging and your only friend for the day is a bird and you're like, they gave me some bread, here you go, bird. Like, you're gonna be the person who gets swarmed by birds every day. Like, it might look impressive to somebody who doesn't understand how things work. But that's where, like, this is the fun of, like, when I talk about, like, the personalized news. Like, San Francisco, like, they do their psyops to create crime, to create havoc, to create evil, to pretend that they control evil and good. So, like, they've been, like, making San Francisco into, like, on purpose, like, as a taunt, like, oh, yeah, St. Francis, yeah, fuck you. We're gonna send some extra, or it could just be myopic news, right? Every city has crime, but if you just publish one city's crime all the time. But I'm sure some of it was agent provocateurs, like, yeah, alright, well, let's turn this place into a hellhole. Let's do crime every day and make sure that we tell our Freemason cops not to intervene. So you think your ways work, you bum? We'll show you. That is where the world is. But so, yeah, theologically, like, maybe Jesus bound me hand and foot and put me in the outer darkness again. It didn't feel like darkness until all this hoodoo stuff happened in my life. But just, yeah, like, briefly, it was 2009, right? When they came knocking. And I was like, alright, well, why are you asking me? Like, what am I, Jesus? And I said that drunk to what I was thinking at the time was like, I must be descended from Jesus. Like, I was thinking Da Vinci Code stuff as an atheist. I was like, I must be descended from Jesus to know this stuff. These people don't know about forgiveness, understanding, compassion, like, none of them. And to be fair, I didn't grow up in the Midwest. I didn't know that there were a whole bunch of people who actually practice those things still. But, I mean, actually, a more fair judgment, though, would land in more Jesus-like, since they've been blinded, they are true to how they feel. But, like, those are praying people who went to Bush's false flag war, so, like, that's, again, like, everything makes me check out a religion. I've been trying to think of clever thoughts. You like to think of clever thoughts so people think you're clever, right? Everyone does it. But, like, oh yeah, it's like, like, while looking for God, it's like Christians make me want to pray to the Jewish God, and Jewish people make me want to pray to the Christian God. Like, you can't win. Like, there's no shining examples of it, right? And maybe they're hidden away. Maybe they're overworking, like, charity and stuff. But when you get into churches like the loudmouths, it's always like, alright, that's your religion? And, like, I see that, like, this look that I'm trying to get out of me on your face. Like, I'm going to the other religion. Oh, should I see it here too? I don't know how to pray. Maybe God does like me, but I'm his ultimate grifter. Eating the 10% corners, but saying, well then, if this is God, then we're in a fight, sorry. Not that I'd win, but And I don't mean God actual. Like I just rail as I get killed, but like if what these people are saying is God, if they're flexing of omnipotent powers, it's bizarre, the gang stalk torture. Like when I say like semi-omnipotent powers, oh, I shouldn't have done that. What I mean is, killing it. What I mean is, that thought's now gone from my head too. No. There's a fun contention too that I have with Christianity. Now that the other thoughts left my mind. For sin entered into the world through one man. How's Satan getting off the hook there? Like, what? You're not supposed to be a snake wandering around the garden telling you, like, you're supposed to be happy in a garden. It sounds more like for sin entered the world through Satan, not... Sounds like somebody's letting themselves off the hook with, look at what you did, man. Oh, wait a minute. Making me feel guilty for your crimes. Oh. But right now, while I do this, my government is... Israel's government is engineering war. Not my government, is it? Like all of NATO. It seems like they co-opted every intelligence community through their communal cults, raising people up who are in their cults, in their evil families, and then I don't know. Yeah. There's a proof of what I say, right? I was thinking about this the other day. But I mean, all governments have turned evil, have these brain demons that make them, we're elite. I remember intrinsically hating it when I was in kindergarten next to some kid who seemed to have it. Not that I knew it at the time, but he was. It just looked like something was warping him, and I had as the Christians say, a check in my spirit. It's like, there's something very wrong. But who knows? Yeah, that's the spiritual warfare stuff that's beyond me. And I try to let myself off the hook, I didn't know, but maybe they're right. Maybe this is some plot that before you come to Earth, you're like, okay, this time I will really stop evil, and I came knowing full well, and so when I complain about their torture, they're no, well, actually you showed up trying to, maybe God spit me out, and I was like, no, I'll stop evil this time, and God's like, no, that's not even the point I was saying, you're supposed to be good. I have no idea, I'm just saying. This needs to go back in the freezer, I think. There's a fun one I was talking about the other day in the video I deleted. It's the David and Francine Wheeler. This is how deep the psychological operations go in the pre-planning. And at the time I thought it was pre-planning because I had just figured out the whole St. Francis thing. And then the King David thing got layered on top of it slowly. And that was one of the things that layered it on top was Robin from How I See the World, when he was like, where are you going, David? And it would be like a spiritual, I didn't know that. But I was watching How I See the World's Sandy Hook exposition things, and it was David and Francine Wheeler are the two main starring crisis actors, and David Wheeler is walking around the sloppy sniper. Like, it was just a perfect, like, mental assault of, like, God, is this you tormenting me? This is what I'm doing. I'm sloppy snipering back at these people. I say Freemason, I say Luciferian, I have no idea. Like, I'm just applying book learning. It's not like, okay, from what I read, this adds up, but maybe the good lesson here is in the end, where I taunt my enemies, where I taught them, like, well, I guess maybe then in 1,000 years, you're gonna wake up in a bed next to me. You're like, oh, I hate my brother, I don't know why. Not that me and my brother hate each other any more than normal brothers. Usually pretty cool with each other. He might hate me after this if especially with these Nazi people who like to shout out their Nazi things. My town has turned into a town of gang stalkers. This is where I'll put significance on it, right? This is not all egotism. This is, well, how come why was this movie used, and this movie used, and this song used, and this song used, and what kind of power is flexing on me? And where the frick is God? Oh, and if that was a gang stalk yesterday, it's not my sciatic nerve, I know, because I have plantar fasciitis torn, and it feels like the same tear, so it's not my sciatic nerve, it's a tear in my spine. So suck it, you don't know everything, you're not omnipotent. Ugh. They torture me hard with the, like, they own all TV, so they can get secret messages through, and it's well, they've been doing that for a long minute. I'd be like, but God wouldn't. But I have no idea. Like, again, like, I'm not supposed to know any of this from a God level, right? It's like not anything that's been revealed to me by God. It's been revealed to me by people who are like, this is why we torture you. Oof. I don't know. I gotta get a clean tool to do this or something. It's not gonna work. If you could feel in my mouth the tongue pressing against, this is where, like, biblically, like, I'm just fucked, like, my tongue pressing against the roof of my mouth, but it really has been pressing against the bottom of my mouth. I think it's like their nerve damage program. Something trying to be God in my life. Slightly missing. So I should have faith and be like, ah ha ha, you've made my tongue press against the bottom of my mouth, not the roof of my mouth. That's a Bible verse. It's like, what? That somebody, you know, like people who are against God, let the tongue cleave to the roof of their mouth or something. But yeah, like, I pushed my front teeth out. My front 4 teeth are loose from my tongue pressing into. They fucked me up good without it being visible. I don't do that kind of combat. For me, it's like, all right, are we fighting? Okay, then we're fighting. I don't do the plotting. I don't do the planning, plotting, psycho-Nazi stuff. I'll forgive and forget. I mean, pretty good at the forgiving part. Pretty decent at the forgetting part. But that's why they come and attack me every day and can't settle down. That's why they gang stalk me. And I've been very vicious to them. Back for their torture. I've been cruel. I've not been true to my convictions, but they've been raped out of my brain too, to be fair. And nobody would ever accept my convictions. A man who would defend child molesters. That was like the devil's advocate, I feel like, was a hit against me. Since all these things are psycho-spiritual. So like I've been calling them child molesters, and I've been calling them child molester enablers just to hit them below the belt, or it's a square body blow is what it is. Not really below the belt, but from the way I think about, or used to think about things, yeah, it's not their fault, because if they had a good chance. But I've gotten to find out that fantasy that everyone, like, if Hitler was alive, would you kill him? I was always sitting there. To my credit, I was always sitting there like, no, because, like, would you have killed Hitler as a child? Like, no, you go be his friend, and then he won't turn into an asshole. Like, he obviously had a rough life, and things made him want to be a hateful person. But, like, how do you, that's where the line between Christianity and Judaism, like, I sway heavily towards Judaism, because then you've moved the line past self-defense in life, and if you're going to wind up in front of God either which way, like, then God is extending your torment, so that, like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But again, I don't trust any of the Old Testament. These people have been playing with. It was Deuteronomy, Leviticus, those books. King Josiah, an advisor, disappeared into the basement. Was like, look at what we found. And then King Josiah's like, yay! This is why it sucks. But maybe I'm just the losing side. Maybe the lion people have won, and that's who these people are. For my part, I mean, and then as a human growth thing, like, I could sit with that. But for my part, the problem is, like, Rome was a slave state that entertained itself with gladiators. Our evolved state of that is now we entertain ourselves with NFL players, which is, like, I mean, yeah. You gotta live somehow, right? Maybe it's not a slow burn, it's a slow heal, and I'm just on the super downside of it. Maybe the lions did rightfully win. Maybe they're only lions from a past genetic war where people were weaponizing gazelles, and so they had to develop lions. I don't know. But, like, that's to me, like, fun stuff. Not fun stuff, but at least it gets my mind off the more ill things, and it's something I can more put my mind around. Is like, it seems like maybe the earth was flooded for a genetic warfare reason. Like, bugs in many ways don't seem natural. Seem like a past weapon of genetic engineering. Or maybe not even a weapon, like maybe a tool that was like, I don't know. We don't have to farm anymore. Look, if we take a tree sprite and we engineer it, it'll just self-reproduce. And then God's the river of life, and God's like, no, that's part of me. You've warped. I will flood you. These are the insane thoughts that go through my head. Trying to figure weird things out. Again, Lloyd Pye, brilliant man with brilliant points, even if he was wrong about a lot of stuff. But his one brilliant point was, all cheetahs are genetic twins. Like, every last cheetah is a genetic twin, and they try and say that's because they all came from, like, one small cluster, but you can't take I think it would have to be 2 twins were the last left, right? To get that, it would have to be actually 2 twins were the last left, right? And maybe that wouldn't even work out. It doesn't work out on any kind of evolution scale, right? Because that would have been at least prehistory, like 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. So somebody was fucking around. And now we're just in the dark, screaming. And that's where I hate. Like, I hate being the evil has won, and then I hate thinking about these things. Like maybe I was King David, and maybe I did think that evil has won, but I was unwilling to say it to make people despair. So I'd be like, no, take heart in the Lord, believe that good has won. But yeah, there's some Bible verses that, where shall I go to escape your love? Like, I really feel like that's me, and that's my character. That's like, where can I go to escape your love? Anyone? Anyone? Is there anywhere I can go to escape this? Trying to be coy. But I don't know. well, maybe it is all my fault. Maybe it's all my farthings to pay. But I feel like if it is your farthings to pay, like you should be some kind of point of reference, right? Like you shouldn't be plopped here to pay for sins that I don't know that I have to ferret out to figure out. Like, God, why are you tormenting me? It should be obvious. I should be able to walk into a room and be like, oh, King David. You know, like Hitler would be there. He'd be like, oh, Hitler. I'm like, oh yeah, hi Hitler, hi King David. And we have like an AA meeting of scumbaggery. I don't know. Like that's where they get me, when they get me super bitter, and I'm like, all right, well then, how come nobody's killing your children? Like, this doesn't seem fair. This doesn't seem eye for an eye, and like it's not. Like, it's just like when they've got me full anger and there's nothing left of my conscience and nothing left of compassion. When even talking a lot, like, makes my O2 levels in my brain go down too low to think good. I think good. It's funny the things that evil will mock you for and then raise people up to do at the same time. Like, that's what all the elites think. They're like, yeah, we're elite because we think good. But at the same time, they were hitting me way back when I was playing World of Warcraft. And it was the ogre people. And the ogre people were like, I think good. Me, chief, because I think good. There's been a lot of haunting in these last 13 years. A lot of brain hollowing out. But maybe it's just the Jesus one. I failed the whole death before dishonor thing, but it was too much to sit with. Like, now you have to kill yourself. Like, what? But like, this seems way too contrived. Like, this was engineered. Like, you can't have that, like, goodness and justice and mercy end at the same time. Now you have to kill yourself. Like, someone's fucking around. Something's hiding in the dark that won't reveal itself. That's causing shenanigans and off-putting it onto people to get more brain-bugged people. So I've tried to figure out a way to figure out hope, and I can't. All that I know is that every last school shooting is faked. Well, I mean, televised school shooting, but this is where they live, right? This is their mental space. They're like, this is how they justify being bioweapon attackers. Since kids are shooting each other, we're teaching the peasants to not shoot each other in school by faking school. Like, that has to be, if there's any kind of moral compass to them, that has to be the delusion that they're deluding themselves with, where the very real, like, psycho-spiritual effect is people despair because of that. People hate life. People want to commit suicide because, like, you know, I don't want to live in this world. It just ruins the planet that they do that. But who knows? They had the gang stalker the other day. We're like, I'm landing on being sure about this. A gang stalker the other day in the supermarket. But you're rich. No, this is not how this works. This is not a sellout ranking system or something. I am not sitting anywhere near your table. I like the one Jewish quip that I've learned. Like to back away in case lightning hits you. But again, that's unfair too, right? That's something without understanding. Like, do you know exactly every molecule of every problem with a person that you should expect God to be smiting them? Even the worst person might have just been a satanic ritual abuse child or whatever. And then you're just piling on by not being compassionate. That seems to be where people will sit with evil, is like just jokey. It's just joking. That's where I've gotten the trillion cuts. We didn't mean it. Cut. But we didn't mean it. Cut. But we didn't mean it. Cut. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe I just have the pride of Frankenstein, right? The king of bad ideas, the king of bad decisions. Like the level that they went to attack my life and be covert about it. With unknowing assailants, maybe, like just spiritually assailing, but maybe with knowing assailants, I don't know. Anyway, this is all complaining because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter unless there's a God to fix it. Like I can't. These people are definitely not fixing it. They just pile on shit and make it worse, and it's like it's how I felt for years and years, was that the Generation Kill line where the main character's like, they're gonna fuck this up. Like he thought he was fighting for peace, fighting to free Iraqis, and the cowboys come in, yeah, you fuckers get some, and that adds like an extra 100 years to people fighting. And that is what Freemasonry is, my best guess, is doing with the whole end time scenario they're creating in Israel. People tend to not forget hurts for a long lifetime. Like I've seen, I saw a rabbi say that the Jewish people are the ones that paid for, it's not Jesus, it's the Jewish people are the object of Isaiah 53. But at the same time, he's like, like the Nazis, talking about Nazis, and they're like, and may they rot in hell for eternity. I'm like, how are you paying for people's sins if you want them to rot in hell for eternity? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. I get there mentally all the time. Not like rotten hell for eternity, but I think some vicious, mean thoughts. And they're not even, like, that's where I don't have discernment like a Christian would say. I can't ferret out where these ideas come from. Ones that know that they're not your own. What's like when I was first praying, I was like, hey God, show up. And it'd be like, I'm here. And they're like, okay, well then tell me something. Like, prove that. Like, no, I'm just being haunted by something. Like the one big, like, one that irks me is like where I'm just like, evil's one, and I think it, and I want to say it, and then like I'm like, and it's because good is one, and I'm like, no, it's not what I meant to say, and it's like the demon slipping into my brain to be like, you can't even pronounce what you think. Really need to let this dry out and cure. But this is the only weapon I'll have. Can't go any more all out than this. I do not, like, in the moment, if I saw somebody like murdering somebody, I would fight, but like I don't do the plotting like now we are, like if it's not happening, then it's over and it's next. I don't know what the point I was gonna make with that. But like, yeah, so they attack me, but they don't. It's just like subtle. It's just the license plate about, what I was thinking about that day, cutting me off in traffic. There's like CIA license plate printing factories that go to their mind control factory and their mind control techs, and they're like, okay, what did he think? Okay, quick, print the license plate. He's going to 7-Eleven. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this is what happens in my life. And I say CIA, but I don't know. Could be NSA, could be FBI. I just know that they're all corrupt. That they're all fucked. If this is the hard limit that I ever fought for, what before me is not right. And then whatever's reincarnating me with the solid flex is like, yep, David will get along with Goliath all day long, actually. David's not even gonna smoke any of that. Goliath is. It's disgusting for me to say it. Like, if it wasn't, like, I would cover that up all day long and not talk about it. If it wasn't, hey, we're destroying the world. Hey, ha 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 ha. We're gonna print another news story about what you were thinking about. Like, oh, you're so important, people are watching. I joked with my mom, like, oh, at least if I had a Jewish mom. My mom's a good Catholic. She's like, you're so important. Like, I mean, usually she's like as supportive as she can be when you hear her saying stuff like this, but when she's like, oh, you're so important that they would torture you. Where, like, you know, like the good babushka mother would be like, of course they're torturing my baby, why wouldn't they? I have completely lost my train of thought in a way. Other than to, yeah, this is me pulling the pin on nobody's gonna watch and nobody's gonna care, so it doesn't matter anyway. Oblivion awaits, clearly. So all that we get is good days or bad days. St. Francis failed Italian class in this lifetime. Meow. So anyway, who knows? Maybe the planet is on rails until God saves us, and then after that it's no longer on rails. We'll all get it, and we can all have free will again. Like real free will. Maybe God's editing the universe to, like, alright, he'll fuck up right here, and he'll fuck up right here, and like he'll have free will until he ruins his life right there, and he'll have free will and have a great life because he'll be a good person. He'll have free will and have a great life because he'll be a good person. He'll have free will and have an okay life because there were slave traders going to Africa and carrying people over, so his life's gonna really suck, but he'll still have free will until that point of, yeah, maybe that's it. And then maybe after then we can be free again. Maybe when the demons come out into the light. Or just her. Oh, you demons, why don't you come out and be good people? Anyway, I don't know. What are you gonna do? This is my insanity. This is hopeless. Who cares? But I feel dishonest not putting it out there. These are 14 years of insanity. And giving up and despairing. I can comfortably say the delete button without getting in trouble, right? I don't mean to make anything robotic because that's one of their hoodoo things, but if sincerely believing what I've come to believe through this torture, if it wasn't for my mom, and if I had something that would make it painless enough, I would press the delete button right now in my life. Like, it is that shitty. But yeah, no. Here they are doing that to a million people over in Israel, and everybody with their bioweapon attack. Meow. Meow. Who knows? Stupid video. Gonna get to 0. Nobody will ever see it, so who cares?